spirit, or a timeless Heartland diamond that shines from across the room, we've got the perfect play. Our experts at Sartor Heyman are here to help you make the winning move. Until next time, happy shopping, guys.
This takes time. What you notice is that in
Nebraska's Christmas Light Show is back and bigger than ever. The Magical Lights of Lincoln Christmas Show runs from Black Friday through New Year's Eve at Sandhills Global Event Center. Bring the family for a show they'll never forget, featuring over 1.5 million lights. Cost is $25 per vehicle from Monday through Thursday, $30 on Friday and Saturday, and also $30 on Christmas Eve and day. Purchase your tickets online today at christmaslightsinlincoln.com and get ready to experience a drive-through light show like you've never seen before. Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You never think cancer will happen to you. I smoked for over 40 years. My doctor recommended that I get annual lung cancer screening. They were able to catch my cancer at stage 1. It's never too late to quit. Even if you're still smoking, you need to ask your doctor about annual lung cancer screening. Just 30 minutes a year could save your life.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is On the Block with Strick and Austin. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for three! And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
Middle school basketball coaching legend and Duke basketball shooting coach in his mind, Austin Orman. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Presented by NEBCO. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin.
Welcome in. It is On the Block on a thirsty Thursday. Austin Norman coming at you from 1040 O Street. We got Ellie on the board. Where in the wide world is my partner? Stricky, what's up? How your travels, my friend?
I hadn't left yet. I got confirmation that it's going to be this evening. So as I told you, I had an extra pass, a couple of extra passes, and so you kind of, with the pass situation, you got to wait and kind of see what the timing is for the best available, flight. So I said, shoot, okay, what is it this evening? So I hadn't left yet, so I'm still sitting in the living room, and always love to be down there with you guys. But at this point in time, it's going to be a special weekend for me. Once again, I'm excited about it. And I'm excited to be here on the block with the fellas and the ladies and whoever's listening in and wherever you listen. Tell Stricky where you're at right now. Stricky's about to hit the air highways.
Friendly
where
skies.
are you at? Where are you listening in? We're gonna get a tap in from everybody right now, as well as when we get into the second hour. We just want to know where you're at
and who you are. Right? We still have so many anonymous texters on the text line. Let us know who you are. If you're a regular, if you listen to these shows, and here's the thing, if you're texting in, you're a contributor, we want to know who you are, right? You're not just nameless, faceless. You're not just numbers to us, right? You're a person. We value you. We value your input, your opinion, and we'd love to shout out your community. So like Strick said, give us where you're listening from. Give us a name, a nickname, whatever it is. 402-464-5685. Well, Stricky, it is Thirsty Thursday.
And a cigar at the crib. You know what I do, Austin.
I know what you do. I know what you're about.
Normally on Thursdays, I go down there and get in cigars and hang out with my fellas. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Lawyer, Stacy, and all the fellas, and as well as Bando. All y'all, man. Love y'all. I'll see y'all when I get back. But, I got to put it in the air since I can't be there to Thirsty Thursday with y'all. You know what I mean?
Hey, Stricky, it's going to be a few weeks. You're gone today. Next week's Thanksgiving. You got to wait till December to see your friends.
I know, man, but no, I'll probably catch him towards the end of the month. I might sneak in there. I did want to go to the Wisconsin game, but it looks like I'm probably going to be out there with my Phoenix fellas, all of them. And look, I tell people all the time, Huskers represent all over the country. but there's no place where it's thicker than like California as well as Phoenix, Arizona. We have some up in New York too. Don't slip on New Yorkers. They're all over the country. But boy, the bar, like literally, it's Husker takeovers of bars, like certain bars.
I can vouch for that.
You can vouch. I tell you,
Yeah.
it's a
Growing
wild
up
thing.
March Madness, there was a Husker bar when we were watching. When it was Siobhan Shields was playing, but I don't remember what year that was.
2014.
Yeah, we would go. I was in Arizona, and there was a whole Husker bar watching the March Madness game. So they like us down there for some reason.
Who wouldn't? Who wouldn't? That's the real question. We got a few here. Stricky Cupsker says safe travels, Strick, and he's also listening from Salina, Kansas. We got Scott from Bancroft, but he is on the road right now for some basketball. Old Dad 34, shout out Newcastle, Nebraska, and 3450 listening in from Malcolm. Those are all pretty close, not too far. Let's expand the radius. Who's listening from the furthest away? I know sometimes we get Cliff down at Eglin Air Force Base in Florida. Cliff, pop on the YouTube stream again if you're there. We'd love to say hi to you and then see you there. But Stricky, it's Thirsty Thursday, which means it's time for Topic Pong, the Eric Strickland creation. I'll lead us off here, Stricky. NFL 2025 Hall of Fame ballot was announced. Not surprisingly, it's a heck of a list of names. But as you look up and down this list, there are 25 players on at least the Pro Football Hall of Fame class for the modern era semifinalists. When you look at this list of 25, how would you break it down for the top 5 players that you would like to see in the Hall of Fame first?
Whew, that's good. Oh, there's some good names on there. And then this is the crazy thing about this, right? There's a lot of individuals on here that are very deserving. And you want me to give you my list of 5?
List of 5. Top 5. They're going to be tough cuts, but your top 5.
Man. I got to say Darren Woodson maybe would have to be. I know he's been there a few times now. He was a tremendous safety. He was kind of a balance of both a hard-hitting safety as well as a good cover safety. I like him. I think Luke Kuechly is deserving. If injury didn't, it would have been he would have been, I think, on par and on course to be similar to what Ray Lewis was. Mm-hmm. I think that's somebody as well. Antonio Gates, man, one of the best tight ends, I think, of all time. No question about it. And then what better kicker than you have, man? Come on, man. I know we want to go with the special guys and all the guys where the numbers show, whether it be in sacks or whether it be in touchdowns. You know, I got to go with Adam Vinatieri, man. The consistency of what he was able to do for as long as he was able to do it. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be 2 teammates that I would say for my last one, but that would be Terrell Suggs or Earl Thomas. I got to go with Earl Thomas, man.
Earl Thomas, man.
Hey. Yeah, man. That's my 5.
I like it. Stricky, you and I are similar on 3 out of the 5. We got 3 out of the 5 the same. We did not put our heads together and talk through this before we did this. We just sent the list. We said we're going to pick 5. I'm with you on Adam Vinatieri, first of all.
Wait, pause. You want? I'm going to tell you who. I'm going to tell you one of the ones you pick without even just on some telepathic stuff. You ready? You want me to tell you who you pick? You pick Robert Mathis. Tell the truth. Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
Wait.
No, I need to know now.
You need to know now?
No. Okay. I'm going to say you definitely put Robert Mathis on there.
Okay.
And I might say you went Eli Manning or Torrey Holt, but we're going to see. Well, okay, go ahead. Adam Vinatieri.
Okay. Adam Vinatieri, I mean, basically the Mariano Rivera of the NFL, right? Clutch postseason moments, dominant kicker, basically never missed when the game is on the line. And if he did miss, the Patriots did a good job of, getting him another crack at it. Adam Vinatieri and the defense was the reason the Patriots won a lot of those early Super Bowls. And here's the thing, Strick, if it would have been an entire career spent with the Patriots, I would have never considered Adam Vinatieri, right? Hated the guy growing up. He carried Tom Brady for far too often. He just annoyed me. He's supposed to miss every once in a while, and he just didn't. But then, He sees the light. The scales drop off of his eyes. He is born again, has new life in Indianapolis, does some really good things for the Colts. Not the same postseason success, but because he came to West 56th Street, I got to put Adam Vinatieri on my list.
I knew it. Okay. Who else?
Number 2, this is not in any particular order. Antonio Gates for me is also on the list. I mean, some of those offenses with Phillip Rivers, with LaDainian Tomlinson, with Vincent Jackson on the outside. But I think the key to all of it was Antonio Gates, right? What he was able to do at the tight end position. He had the back and forth battles, at least of their teams, with the Phillip Rivers Chargers and the various quarterbacks and the Chiefs, but with Tony Gonzalez at tight ends. That AFC West was spoiled for a very long time with having both Gonzalez and Antonio Gates there. Antonio Gates was my tight end on Madden 2007 on the Nintendo DS. I don't know how many tens of thousands of receiving yards that guy had for me. And hey, shout out him, former basketball player as well. So Antonio Gates, I couldn't leave off. I have the exact same argument as you do for Luke Kuechly. At his peak, one of the best linebackers ever to do it, right? He could stop the run. He could defend the pass. He had some interceptions, forced plenty of fumbles behind the line of scrimmage, chasing guys downfield. Cam Newton gets a lot of credit, deservedly so, for that Carolina Panthers Super Bowl run. He's a franchise icon. I don't know if Luke Kuechly's not ahead of him, right? The hard nose, the work ethic, the fact he played his whole career in Carolina. That's a guy that looks incredibly different from when he played, right? We think about offensive linemen slimming down and losing weight. So did Luke Kuechly. I saw him on, I think it was Good Morning Football. It was some show like that, and that's not what I expected Luke Kuechly to look like. But Strick, the reason I was very tempted to leave Luke Kuechly off this list is because he's pushed Lavonte David down the ballot. Obviously, Lavante's not, on the Hall of Fame ballot yet. But without Luke Kuechly playing in the same division as him, we're having some serious conversations about Lavonte David as the best linebacker in the NFL.
Wow. The beautiful thing about Lavonte David is not only his speed, his prowess, but he was, in different sports, Austin, you have certain types of individuals and certain types of players that bridge gaps in transitions from styles of play, right? Mm-hmm. He was still there when the running parts of the game was still a factor. It is a factor, but I'm talking about, it was a pretty consistent thing. He was still kind of there then. And then to be able to do that at the size that he is, like he's not your typical linebacker size, but yet he still was able to get the job done and still be able to cover and still be able to run sideways to sideways. Usually that's kind of what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the way that they brought their linebacking cores are. There are a lot of guys that can run, and that's really where they're a Tampa 2. Pretty much a Tampa 2 style defense, which is going to require guys to have to get depth quick and have to be able to run and also fill gaps. So yeah, man, with safeties back there all the time, for the most part, you got to have a good linebacker core that can run and do the things that they do. And, kudos to him and his success in the NFL. We're quite proud as Husker Nation, no doubt.
Those are my top 3. The next 2 for me, Stricky, one of them is Marshall Yanda, who played basically his entire career, with the Baltimore Ravens. A 13-year career. 1 year he missed entirely due to injury. 2-time first-team All-Pro, 5-time second-team All-Pro, 8-time Pro Bowler. Unanimous selection to the NFL's 2010 All-Decade Team, All-Rookie Team in 2007, already in the Ravens Ring of Honor. He's from Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I didn't know many offensive linemen's names growing up. Marshall Yanda was one of them. Right, road grader, steamroller, playing day in, day out on the offensive line at guard for some pretty interesting Ravens teams, including that Super Bowl championship team as well. I think what he did, the length of time he was able to do it for, and even despite him having played for Iowa, I'm going to throw him in there. Number 5 for me, Stricky, it's the one that I'm most surprised you didn't guess. It is not Robert Mathis. It is not Eli Manning, and it's not Torrey Holt. Do you have one more guess for who you think I'm putting in at number 5?
Reggie Wayne.
Reggie Wayne.
Reggie Wayne.
the Colts' current wide receivers coach.
Reggie Wayne. Yep.
Yep.
I should have known that.
It's his 6th season on the ballot, which is why I'm giving him the nod over Robert Mathis. Dwight Freeney just got in 2024, and I think Freeney was a little better, certainly a little more iconic than Robert Mathis was. So Mathis deserves to be, and I hope he gets in eventually. But the fact that it's Reggie Wayne's 6th ballot is kind of a travesty. Strick, there are 4 receivers from a similar-ish era of football that are worth comparing here, right? Anquan Bolden is on the ballot. Torrey Holt is on the ballot. Steve Smith Sr. is on the ballot. And Reggie Wayne is on the ballot. If you go to stathead.com, do their versus finder, when you pull it up, you see that Steve Smith has a lot of green, right? He played the most games. He has the most receiving yards, the most rushing attempts, the most punt return yards, the most kick return yards. Credit him. He did everything at a very dynamic level for so long. Has the most, career fantasy points and one of the highest, actually has the second highest average value or approximate value. So Steve Smith Sr. certainly deserves to be in. Torrey Holt won 1 Super Bowl, 7-time Pro Bowler. That's the most of anyone on this list. And averaged 14.5 yards per catch. Those are the only categories that Torrey Holt leads in, right? Anquan Bolden had the most receptions, but he only beats Reggie Wayne by 6. Tied Reggie Wayne for the most receiving touchdowns. Had about 600 fewer yards than Reggie Wayne did, played in 35 fewer games. Reggie Wayne is basically second in all of the stats he doesn't lead, behind Steve Smith Jr. or Sr., who a lot of his value came from special teams. Reggie Wayne, 3-time All-Pro, tied with Steve Smith Sr. for the most. 6-time Pro Bowler to Steve Smith's 5. Won a championship that Steve Smith Sr. never got. Only played 8 fewer games, but has an approximate value of it's 14 points higher than Steve Smith Sr., despite everything that Steve Smith Sr. brought in special teams. It's the 6th year on the ballot. We know Marvin Harrison is in, but I think that comparison is apt too, right? You had Freeney and Mathis on defense, but as good as those two guys were, right? If you want to put Freeney and Harrison on the same level, I think Reggie Wayne as a wide receiver was even a step and a half above what Robert Mathis was as a defensive end. So if there's a Colt getting in, I mean, Vinatieri is legendary. He's a Patriot and a Colt. But if there's a pure, true Colt going in the Hall of Fame in 2025, Reggie Wayne, dang it.
Well, look, there was a time when they had one of the greatest shows on turf, which Torrey Holt happened to be a part of, right? But I have to say that when you look at the way that the St. Louis Rams transitioned, how they were an anomaly when you think about it during their time and their run, being that anomaly, the one that I could look at that kind of was like similar to them, but still with a little bit of a combination of both, and that was Indiana. Like those threats that Wayne was, as well as Harrison, look, as vertical as you can be and get with the way that they played the game was very similar. They could hit you with big plays real quick. And so I respect that those Indianapolis Colts teams that they happen to run with. So shout out to Reggie Wayne if he can get in.
Is Eli Manning a Hall of Famer to you?
They were debating that today on First Take or whatever show. And Stephen A. Smith was advocating very hard for Eli Manning because I think if you look at it, there was like 6 other quarterbacks, and I hated. I was at the dentist office when I was picking up on it, so I didn't really get to hear in full depth what they were talking about. But I personally don't know about this early for him. Yes, the success that they have, but Eli Manning, like for me, if Eli Manning gets in, then Joe Flacco's got to get in. For me, he was a manager. He was a manager of the squad. He did his thing. He was Ben Roethlisberger type for me. Just handled the business. He was, Russell Wilson type, and they're probably going to be Hall of Famers. So if you look at it from that standpoint, yeah. But I also, a lot of people don't like the fact that Joe Flacco, who did a lot of the same types of thing, managing his team, hitting big plays when they had more of a running game. But those teams with Tiki Barbers and there's who else? Gosh darn it, there was another one.
Brandon Jacobs.
Yeah, Jacobs, and then
David Tyree, Mario Manningham, Plaxico Burress.
Yeah. I mean, he had and was the beneficiary of just great plays that literally won their. Some of these fluke plays that they have, they don't win the championship. But hey, listen, it's all part of the game. You throw up some Hail Marys, you have guys make plays. Guys make their names off of one or two plays in their career, don't do really the same thing at all. And he's the beneficiary of that. But I got to give him credit. He won. He's a winner. And, rightfully so. He probably deserves to be in. I just don't know about this early.
Fair enough. Aaron Rodgers, Hall of Famer, yes or no?
Oh, yeah.
Even if he goes to Minnesota and betrays the Packers?
There might be a lot of writers that might not feel good about that, but I think Aaron Rodgers has proved that he is so. He is so. Yeah. And then also getting the Super Bowl. Dan Marino, he's very reminiscent of Dan Marino, except he didn't get the championship, but he's like that. He was that successful. Now he's definitely more mobile in his prime than Dan Marino was, but as far as slinging that ball around and being able to make every throw and at times taking a wide receiver core that was not necessarily elite and winning games and making them great and making guys on his team better. Now, you look at him from a leader standpoint. Do you say he's a good leader? Some people may question that, but
shaky.
Yeah. Some people may question whether that's the case or not, but at the same time, he's had success, like him or not, ayahuasca or not, if you was on one or not, you got to respect the man. He did his thing.
That you did. That comes up because Andy Herman, owner of Pack-A-Day podcast, he's on the radio in Milwaukee, says, we're way closer to Aaron Rodgers, the Minnesota Viking, than I think people realize. J.J. McCarthy is the Vikings' future QB, but he just had to have a second knee surgery. Not ideal. It would be inheriting a good roster as a rookie QB, who's probably not quite ready coming off a major injury. Meanwhile, Sam Darnold has every right to demand a long-term deal from his next team, something Minnesota might not be willing to do, given that they just drafted J.J. McCarthy. What the Vikings might need would be a one-year stopgap while McCarthy sits and gets ready for a year. And look who would just happen to be available. Obviously, that would take a lot going on, even more than has already happened in New York. But hey, we've seen this before, right? Brett Favre from the Packers played with the Jets and the Vikings both. It would be a funny little bit of symmetry for that era of Packers quarterbacks at the very least. Let's go to break here.
Wait, real quick. I'm going to say one more thing. With Aaron Rodgers, also with him going in that situation, you've got to consider, like, the timing probably is perfect for them to do that, being that their quarterback in McCarthy is under a rookie scale contract, which is going to help him, and it's not one of those first 5, those high level rookie contracts. So it's manageable there, and you can probably get him on a discount. They're not going to pay him what the Jets. It's really going to depend on how does he want to go out. You've got a great opportunity with a great team. You're looking over there at one of the best receivers, top 3 definitely, if not top 2 receivers in Justin Jefferson, and you've got a pretty good offense set
Aaron
there.
Jones, TJ Hawkinson.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got a pretty good offense there. So it could be something to consider if you're Aaron Rodgers. And if you can get him at a discount, like you said, for a stopgap, you can do checks to evaluate what McCarthy is, how he's recovering, give him that time. And then you saw what happened with Green Bay and having like an Aaron Rodgers type. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is like Tannehill to where he's going to be just like, you over there. I don't think he's going to do that. So, yeah.
I like it. He's Strick. I'm Austin. We're going to go to break. When we get back, we're going to have John Walker of the Omaha World Herald on to talk some Nebraska Creighton. Both games are tomorrow between the women at DJ Sokol Arena and the men at CHI Health Center. We're going to have John on, and you may or may not hear bits and pieces of this conversation tomorrow on the Corner 3. Don't go anywhere. We'll talk some Nebraska Creighton preview with John Walker of the Omaha World Herald when we get back to On the Block.
Follow Austin, Strick, and On the Block on Twitter at Austin Orman, eStrick20, and On the Block 93.7. More of On the Block coming up.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood.
I'll listen. I'll listen
Bauer
on this next segment because I'll let you guys just be on two screens. You know what I mean? But I'll be here and I'll just listen to, just to debate on that. That way it'll give him more time. I don't really have much questions on it because I'm just observing.
The expert analysis from the Husker Hall of Famer.
Let her know. Let Ellie know. Okay.
The Jay Foreman postgame show, sponsored by Anderson Ford, Tanner's Bar and Grill, Tavern 180, Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Vinny Creekback of State Farm Insurance,
Call Rick
Action
Riley.
Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
There are moments in life, surrounded by family and friends, when you realize this is what it's all about. For 65 years, the Riddles family has been creating jewelry to capture these precious moments, crafting one memory at a time to last forever. Now, join them in celebrating Riddles Jewelry's 65th anniversary with incredible savings. Enjoy up to 30% off engagement rings. And for a limited time, save up to an additional $700 on your ring purchase. At Riddles, they're more than jewelry. They're here to help you create moments that truly sparkle, surrounded by the people who matter most. Family owned. Today, tomorrow, forever. Riddles Jewelry.
When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call Patriot Plumbing at 402-464-7411 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-464-7411.
As you're gearing up for Christmas, it's time to head to Tailored Life in Bennett to get ready with local shopping. Make the short drive down Highway 2 for tons of items for your home for both indoors and outdoors. Check out their variety of Christmas trees in all different colors. Plus, many other fall and winter holiday items and landscape lighting to enhance the outside of your home. Don't forget their home goods for indoors, plus convenient drinks and snacks, most of which are produced locally. Visit Tailored Life today in Bennett and stay tuned to their Facebook page at Tailored Life 360 for food truck events coming up.
Landmark Implement, your local John Deere dealer, invites you to attend our upcoming Parts and Service Expo events. It's the best time to buy parts and schedule inspections all year. Take advantage of specials through December 13th with additional savings the day of your local expo. Find savings on oil and filters, gifts for under the tree, and pre-ordered John Deere parts. Visit with our trained and certified technicians and sign up for our winter service specials. Visit landmarkimp.com for a complete schedule and experience the Landmark difference.
Stevens & Smith Construction is a full-service, employee-owned concrete company that specializes in residential and commercial foundations and flat work. They've been a leader in the concrete industry since 1971, with nearly 250 employees combining for more than 2,000 years of service. With locations in Lincoln, Omaha, and Kansas City, they're united in quality, integrity, and professionalism to create excellence in construction. Learn more today at stevensandsmith.com.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We are back here during On the Block, brought to you by our good friends at Nebco. They're looking for mechanics, specifically for their constructors branch. Check them out at constructorslincoln.com or nebcoinc.com as well. Well, it's a big weekend here in the state of Nebraska, especially in two cities with the biggest populations, Lincoln and Omaha. We got Nebraska Creighton coming up tomorrow, women's and men's game, Nebraska, Wisconsin football and volleyball then on Saturday. We're going to talk some hoops here. We're going to talk some Nebraska Creighton. To do that, we go to our VIP line brought to you by our friends at Outlet Fiber. That's where they understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. First-time guest on the program, John Walker of the Omaha World-Herald. John, thanks a ton for spending some time with us here today. Really appreciate it, man. How you doing?
Man, I'm good. It's rivalry week. I've been at the World-Herald for I guess my year anniversary at the World-Herald is in less than a week now, and so I was fortunate enough to get last year's I-80 rivalry game in. But now that I've been here a year, I'd like to think I'm pretty entrenched in it. So I'm excited. One, for the game Friday, and two, to be talking to you today.
Well, John, you are truly entrenched now because you have recently discovered the depths of emotion behind the word J-Sker. You didn't get that last year?
See, and I saw somebody said the same thing on Twitter X earlier. They were like, "Man, you were here last year, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, I was," but I think I had been hired for like a week and a half at that point. That was only my second game on the beat, believe it or not. And so no, I don't know if it was like I hadn't fully made it to Creighton Twitter yet or Nebraska Twitter. But I sure have this year, and it has been quite the ruckus ever since Monday morning.
Are you appreciative of the fact that you found out what Nebraska and Creighton Twitter are all about, or do you wish you would be naive and innocent still, like you were, a year ago now?
No. I love it. I love nothing more than an absolutely vile college basketball rivalry. And that's exactly what we have in our hands here on each end of I-80.
It's been pretty one-sided over the last handful of years. We'll get to the men's game in just a second. But, of course, the women will take center stage first at DJ Sokol Arena. We've talked a little bit about the Nebraska end of things here on the program. Natalie Potts goes down with the ACL injury for the year. But for Creighton, right, maybe not the start that the Blue Jays envisioned. That's been a solid program. They're off to a 1-2 start. Let's start with what's gone wrong, I guess, in the 1-2 start for the Blue Jays first.
Yeah, it's really kind of been their lack of a post presence. I don't think it's a secret. I think everyone who has remotely paid attention to Creighton women's basketball knows that they lost Emma Ronsick. Otherwise, returned a lot from this kind of now super senior class, if you will. But Emma Ronsick was a really, really, really important piece, and I think we're seeing that now. Just how important she was on both ends as a post presence. And so the Jays haven't really had that. Morgan Molly is really good. But we saw against South Dakota State in their opening night loss. We saw against, which this is going to be the case for most teams in the country. But when the Jays went to Manhattan to play Kansas State, Aoka Lee had her way in the post, really. And that's kind of been the Achilles heel of this Creighton team so far.
On the flip side of that, the guard play, right? Lauren Jensen's been really good.
Yeah.
You mentioned Morgan Molly, Keani Lockett. Those three players are in double figures. What makes that triumvirate so good for Creighton?
Yeah, they were actually, this is kind of an anticipated but late breakout for Keani Lockett. Not by any volition of her own. She dealt with some injuries last year, and Jim Flannery knew it then that, man, if we could just have Keani. And so now you're seeing why he said that a year ago and how important she could have been to the Jays a year ago, how important she is now. And then, Molly Mogensen, Lauren Jensen, those are two players who have, kind of paved the way for this Creighton offense, especially on both, but on both ends for the last 4 years, now going on 5 years. So no, they're second to not a lot. I won't say second to none, but Lauren Jensen, especially, second to not a lot.
Both programs, Nebraska and Creighton, wanted Britt Prince. How fired up do you think she's going to be playing for Nebraska against the Creighton team with a lot of, connections to her mom, that program there at Elkhorn North, and everything that goes on in that matchup?
Yeah. I think the cool thing is that her introduction to this rivalry, obviously she's been around it. She's an in-state kid. She knows, but her formal introduction to this rivalry is going to come on the road, which I think is maybe more fitting because she gets to go back home, essentially. I understand that the drive from Lincoln to Elkhorn is not sizable, obviously. But it's really cool that Britt Prince is kind of going to have this homecoming of sorts on Friday night. Yeah, I am really, really, really excited to see what Creighton does and how they defend her. Is that Lauren Jensen? Is it Keani Lockett until it's not? I'm not sure. We'll find out on Friday.
Nebraska is going to play through Alexis Markowski. So is the game plan for Creighton, the women, the same as it is for the men? Let it fly from three and try to outmath Nebraska from beyond the perimeter?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. The Creighton women have done a really good job through their first 3 games of not settling for what the defense is giving up. Like, they're not just going to chuck them just because they're open, if that makes any sense. They still want to get really quality shots, but that's the game plan. Absolutely. Exactly as you said, with the men. Just like Fred Hoiberg and co, I'm sure, are going to crash down on Ryan Kalkbrenner every time. You know, the Jays are probably going to try and do the same to Alexis Markowski. So I think the Huskers will have to hit threes too, but absolutely. The Jays are going to have to hit from 3 to kind of make up for the lack of a really bruising, really intimidating post presence that they lost in Emma Ronsick.
We're talking with John Walker of the Omaha World Herald. He's the Creighton beat writer. Let's talk about that men's game. Watching Ryan Kalkbrenner now for the 2nd season, have you seen him level up, or is he just Mr. Consistent, same guy he was last year?
No, he's leveled up. It's kind of double-sided. You know, it's really easy to not have to score 49 points in a game when you also have Trey Alexander and Baylor Shireman there. So his workload is vastly different, vastly larger than it was a season ago. But he dedicated this offseason to making sure he could handle that. We all know what type of rim protector he is. He is one of, if not the best rim protectors in the country. And so he really dedicated this offseason to improving his all-around game, and we've seen it. His footwork has been smoother. He's looked more confident taking threes. It's a quicker release from outside. Creighton hasn't played anybody who could body for body match up with Ryan Kalkbrenner because it's so hard to do talent-wise. But Nebraska is gonna be the first team to kind of be able to throw an adequate body at Ryan Kalkbrenner with Braxton Mia.
And Nebraska has really, I think, 3 different kinds of postmen, right? You mentioned Mia. I think Andrew Morgan will get some looks at him as well. Berke Boyutengel. How is Creighton preparing for maybe the different styles of player that Nebraska is going to throw at their best player, Ryan Kalkbrenner?
You know, I think it's really as simple as, you know, go back to a couple of minutes ago. They have to hit threes. I think it's more of a philosophical thing, schematic thing. Like Fred Hoiberg designs that, hey, we are not going to let the 7-footer beat us at the rim. And, you know, to the Huskers' credit, Ryan Kalkbrenner's first paint touch didn't come until 10 minutes in last year. So they executed that plan early on, and obviously the Baylor Shireman avalanche spread the Huskers out, then you could feed it in, and so on and so forth. So just like we said with the women, I think the key to handle whatever matchup, whatever scheme, whatever philosophy Nebraska is going to throw at Ryan Kalkbrenner, I think the Jays have to hit threes. Have to. We saw 2 years ago that when Nebraska makes it a slugfest and when Creighton doesn't make shots, Nebraska has a chance in these games. When Creighton hits shots and settles into their offense, that's kind of when they can boat race the Huskers.
Creighton 4-1 in the last 5 matchups, winning by an average of 20 points, to your point. You brought up the name Trey Alexander. Has Creighton replaced him with a single player, or has it been more by committee?
Yeah, it's had to be by committee. Pop Isaacs, you know, it's still kind of, he had a torn labrum last year in his hip at Texas Tech and had surgery on it this off season. So this is his first season with that repaired in like a year and a half, 2 years. And so he's still understandably getting his feet under him, if you will. But one of the big knocks on his game in the portal was his efficiency numbers at Texas Tech. They weren't where Tech needed them to be. They weren't where he wanted them to be. But the whole point of Greg McDermott bringing him in, both from Pop's standpoint and from Creighton's, they think that in McDermott's system, Pop will get better looks, which will improve the efficiency numbers. He hasn't, he's shooting 33% right now. And so for the time being, it has not just been as simple as Pop Isaacs replacing Trey Alexander. But in that same vein, their most recent game against Kansas City on Saturday, 5 different players scored in double figures, and freshman Jackson McAndrew led the team with 15 points. So it hasn't been just one person replacing the scoring that they lost in Trey Alexander and Baylor Shireman, but they have seemingly somehow done it, still averaging 88 points a game.
You bring up the name McAndrew, one of, if not the highest rated signee in Creighton history, correct?
Yep.
How has Greg McDermott managed his minutes, along with, Isaac Trout, an in-state transfer home from Virginia, and then Jason Green as well at that power forward position?
Yeah, it's been really interesting because, throw in Mason Miller to that conversation. The interesting thing is that Mason had a leg injury, a pretty significant leg injury over the summer, missed a lot of time, was back for camp, sat out a little bit of camp because that started to nag him from my understanding. And then he's missed the past couple of games. I don't think the past couple of games are related to the leg injury. But he's missed the past couple of games. And so Greg McDermott said, it's kind of made my life easier in terms of figuring out that rotation, because when Mason's 20 minutes are available, then, we can give 10 of those to McAndrew and an extra 5 to Isaac Trout and Jason Green. And it's a night by night, matchup by matchup thing is how they rotate on the wings. Because all 3 of those guys bring something different. I think we'll see a lot of Jason Green. I really do, because of the defensive presence. Creighton's going to give up a lot of size in the backcourt, especially. Berke and Isaac Trout kind of cancel each other out. They're both 6'10". Mia, Koch, they're both 7'1". But the backcourt, 1 through 3, is really where Creighton's going to be at a size disadvantage. And so I think that you could see Green, a versatile defender, kind of help fill that void. But they all bring something a little different. And to your point about McAndrew, there's not any hesitation. This coaching staff has really full confidence in him. He was 0 for 7 2 games ago against Houston Christian. And they just encouraged him to keep shooting it. What happened Saturday against Kansas City? Well, he sees his first couple go down, and boom, he leads the Jays with 15 points.
One more guy I think Husker fans need to know about before tomorrow night's game at CHI, John, is Jemiah Neal, big-time transfer out of Arizona State. When you mentioned the backcourt, when I see that he's 6'6" and Bryce Williams is listed at 6'7", I see a fun head-to-head battle between those 2 guys tomorrow night. Are you kind of on the same wavelength?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's going to be the matchup. Nebraska comes down the floor for the first time. I think Jemiah Neal is glued to Bryce Williams. One, because Jemiah was touted in the transfer portal as a guy who was, one, a slasher, but more importantly, a hard-nosed, menacing defender. And then for personnel-wise, what are you going to put 6-foot Stephen Ashworth or 6'2" Pop Isaacs on, 6'7" Bryce Williams? You're probably not going to have a favorable matchup there. You wouldn't. And so I think you'll see Jemiah on Bryce a lot of the night. But in addition to his defense, one of the things that Jemiah has done really, really, really well is, again, that slashing ability, especially in transition. Sometimes Creighton's offense has had some cold spurts, and the transition game has really, really kind of kicked them back into gear. And Jemiah Neal has been a large part of that.
He's averaging just under 10 points per game, but also 4.5 assists per game. When you look at this Creighton offense, is he kind of that secondary playmaker? Or is he the primary guy even before like Ashworth running around screens? Or how often is Creighton playing through Jemiah Neal getting downhill versus Ryan Kalkbrenner as that distributor?
Yeah, so it's so interesting, and that's the thing about Creighton's offense that makes it so difficult. One possession, they're going to come down the floor, and Ryan Kalkbrenner is going to trigger the offense at the top of the key. He'll set a screen. It's a DHO. It's a dribble handoff. It's a you name it. The next possession, they come down, and it's a pick and pop with Ryan Kalkbrenner and Stephen Ashworth. And then what do you do? Like it's so different. But in terms of that playmaking ability, yeah, I would say it's tough. The inefficiency so far probably knocks Pop Isaacs down a bit in that category. But yeah, Pop and Jemiah are probably the playmakers here, especially on the wing. It'll be, size-wise on Friday, it'll be Jemiah, I'd imagine. But yeah, he's a playmaker for sure. The thing that Greg McDermott wants is him to stop being so hesitant. That's one of the things we've seen through the first 4 games is he'll get it, and it almost seems like he's in his head because he wants to do the right play when he just has to make the right play instead of thinking about it. And that's kind of the point that Greg McDermott's reiterated, that Jemiah Neal himself has reiterated, and something we'll have a chance to see on Friday.
That's John Walker of the Omaha World Herald Creighton beat writer with us here. Give him a follow on Twitter at @ByJohnWalker. Read his work at omaha.com. John, appreciate you taking some time out of your day to preview the matchup with us. Really appreciate it, and we'll see you on Friday.
All righty. Thanks, y'all.
That's, again, John Walker joining us from the Omaha World Herald via our Allo Fiber VIP line. Allo Fibers, where they understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. Nebraska women take on the Creighton women mid-afternoon at DJ Sokol Arena, then a 7 o'clock tip at the CHI Health Center between the men's teams, both games tomorrow night. I'll be there. It's going to be fun. Make sure you give me a follow as well at Austin_Orman for some in-arena coverage tomorrow night. And keep an ear to the ground. May or may not hear this last conversation with John tomorrow during our Nebraska Creighton kind of mega preview. We're calling it On the Corner 3 that's going to run from 6 to 7. We'll go to break. We'll play some trivia for $30 to Buffalo Wings and Rings with Strick remote. We won't put Ellie on the hot seat. She copped out. She chickened out. We'll just do a trivia question. We'll give it to Strick. We'll have the text line go over, under, or push his answer. Texter will win $30 to Wings and Rings. Don't go anywhere. We'll wrap up hour 1 of the show right after this.
Download our app by searching for 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day wherever you are. More of On the Block next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next big opportunity? Constructors is hiring. We're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. We offer competitive wages, great benefits, brand new service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for our shop and multiple field technicians. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at constructorslincoln.com.
With the Planet Fitness Black Card, you don't just get a great workout, you get a great perk out because your membership is packed with perks. For $1 down and $24.99 a month, you'll get perks like access to any of our 2,400 clean and spacious locations. Bring a friend anytime and both work out with tons of equipment that'll give you that big fitness energy. Relax in the Black Card spa and more. Work out and perk out with the PF Black Card. Join for just $1 down and $24.99 a month. Hurry, this deal ends soon. See Home Club for details.
The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeyman electricians from $32.50 to $42.50 per hour with paid benefits. And if you're looking for a new career, they're hiring apprentices at $19.50 per hour with paid benefits. Call the office at 402-423-4497 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
The Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see lots of sunshine with a light breeze. An afternoon high around 44. Tonight, clear skies and calm winds, the low around 27. And tomorrow, we'll see increasing clouds throughout the day with light winds and a high around 50. Meteorologist Kyle Becker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay. Playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza. The big one. All the toppings.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Alexa.
That's a lot of pizza for just one man.
Alexa, just do it. Stop judging me, just do it.
As you wish.
Thanks, Alexa. You're my best friend.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the K&TK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
All right, Rico, let's do the final checklist before we head out. We have a lot of people coming to the tailgate today.
I'm ready.
Burgers?
Check.
Chips?
Check.
Icy cold beer?
Check. Except this one.
I'm forgetting something. Wait a second. Where's the Fuhrer's cheese spread?
I can't stop eating it.
Rico!
Relax. I always pack extra. It's the biggest hit of the tailgate.
For the best appetizer, party dip, and tailgate snack, load up on Fuhrer's cheese spread today in most local grocery stores.
The Mill Coffee and Tea, formerly with only 4 Lincoln locations, now 5 Lincoln locations. That's 25% more locations than there used to be. Can you even imagine a world where there's only 4 Lincoln Mill locations? That feels like ages ago. We were all so young then. The Mill on 11th, located right alongside the 93.7 The Ticket Studios on O Street.
At Koppel Chevrolet GMC, we are thankful for so many things this year, starting with our great employees, a generous community, our military personnel, and most importantly, our loyal customer base that continues to drive that money-saving mile of Louisville. Hi, this is Sean Callahan, and on behalf of everybody at Koppel, we want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving and safe travels to wherever they may take you. Happy holidays from Koppel Chevrolet GMC.
When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call Patriot Plumbing at 402-464-7411 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-464-7411.
It's game on at Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Nebraska's premier Kawasaki dealership. Score big on Kawasaki's all-new Ridge lineup. The Ridge XR, the Ridge HVAC, and the Ridge Limited. All built to take on your day with a full factory cab, including heat and AC. Stop by Indian Motorcycle of Lincoln today and rule the streets on an Indian motorcycle with customer cash and trade-in credits up to $2,000 during the month of November. Elway Power Sports of Lincoln at 27th and I-80.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
It's time to play Shootout with Strick. Call now, 464-5685, to take your shot against Eric Strickland. Shootout with Strick. Brought to you by Buffalo Wings and Rings.
Time to play the game!
Big thank you to Buffalo Wings and Rings for sponsoring the Shootout with Strick. We're going to keep it simple today with Stricky on the road. We're just going to play the tiebreaker question here. Stricky, how many times did you beat Creighton when you were at Nebraska? How many times? Yeah, Stricky, I can't hear you.
Is that a question?
How many times did you beat Creighton while you were here? That's not the question. I'm just asking for a fact.
Bruh. Undefeated, son.
Is that 1, 2, 3, 4?
4.
4 for 4. I like it. So how about this? Texter number 4 with the correct answer. We'll get the $30 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. Here's the question, Strick.
You see this question?
No, we got a question.
Do you see this question?
Is it on stream? Pop it up.
I'm pointing at it.
Hey, look at that. That's a beautiful shirt. That's a handsome shirt. You're rocking it, Stricky. I love that.
Oh, yeah. I'm ready.
Look at that. Okay.
I'm ready.
Okay. Here's the question. In the Nebraska Creighton series, there have been 57 games. Creighton leads the overall series 30-27.
Man, that's the ball junk. That's because they ain't.
Because they told Stricky he was out of eligibility when he really wasn't. That's
Never
true.
happened. Okay, but go ahead. Mhm.
Okay. Both teams, their longest winning streak in the series is the same number of games. What is the longest winning streak in Creighton, Nebraska rivalry history? How many games in a row?
7.
Stricky says 7. Texter number 4 with the right answer. Whether it's over, it's under, or it's push, we'll get the $30 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. Hit us up at 402-464-5685. If you're texter number 4 with the right answer, you'll get the $30 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. We'll give you that answer, and we'll go over some Nebraska-Wisconsin headlines, especially as they relate to the head coach. Matt Rule spoke at the podium today, tell you a little bit about what he had to say, and then we'll go through some Nebraska-Wisconsin headlines. Strick's remote. I'm Austin at 1040 O Street. Stop by, stay high. Ellie's on the board. We'll be right back with hour 2 of the show in just a minute.
Follow Austin Strick and On the Block on Twitter at Austin Orman, eStrick20, and On the Block 93.7. More of On the Block coming up. This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Hello.
Angela, we have to break up.
But why?
Because you're a robot and I'm just a guy trying to get better internet.
It's Aloe Fiber, isn't it? I always knew you wanted faster speeds. My contract isn't good enough for you.
Face it, Angela, they let me talk to real people.
Press 4 to break my heart. Oh wait, you already did.
Visit aloefiber.com to switch today.
As you're gearing up for Christmas, it's time to head to Tailored Life in Bennett to get ready with local shopping. Make the short drive down Highway 2 for tons of items for your home for both indoors and outdoors. Check out their variety of Christmas trees in all different colors. Plus, many other fall and winter holiday items and landscape lighting to enhance the outside of your home. Don't forget their home goods for indoors, plus convenient drinks and snacks, most of which are produced locally. Visit Tailored Life today in Bennett and stay tuned to their Facebook page at Tailored Life 360 for food truck events coming up.
College football in Lincoln, America. The time has come. Start your game day off right with the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show. Join the ticket crew as they bring you all the coverage you need to get you ready for the action. It's the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show. Brought to you by General Fire and Safety, Raisin Canes, Perch Merch, Sunbelt Rentals, Mullen Motors, Select Plumbing, and the Kindler Hotel. On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is James Harrell with NP Dodge Real Estate. When I became a licensed realtor, I wanted a brokerage that would help me grow in my new career. I found that in Lincoln First Realty. When Lincoln First was acquired by NP Dodge, the training and support I received only got better. I love knowing I have the power of the NP Dodge brand behind me. I would recommend NP Dodge to new agents looking to jumpstart their real estate career and to current agents who want to take their business to the next level.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
When he stops the game-winning goal with his nose. When your hand accidentally becomes the pot holder. When her bike takes her off-road and onto the sidewalk. That's where we come in. Walk into CHI Health Clinic Priority Care 7 days a week for urgent and minor care at primary care rates. Getting you back to better health is our priority. Find your location at chihealth.com/prioritycare.
Attention students and anyone else looking for a great deal. Sun Valley Lanes and Games has the ultimate weeknight special. For just $15.95, enjoy unlimited bowling, lucky putt mini golf, and laser tag. Flash your college ID at check-in to receive $2 off your admission. It's the perfect way to unwind Sunday through Thursday nights. Check out sunvalleylanes.com for hours and availability. Sun Valley Lanes and Games, located at 321 Victory Lane.
Lincoln's best place to meet, eat, and compete. Sun Valley.
Tanner's Bar and Grill is the best place in Lincoln for a casual get-together, best place to watch a game, and the best for pre- and post-game. Catch college and NFL football as well as the volleyball action this season at Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill. What's better than wings, cold beer, and a Husker win? Enjoy great food and drink specials every day and tons of TVs to catch all the action. Tanner's Bar and Grill, 30th and Yankee Hill.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Empower a child today with a Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Are you or someone you love struggling with substance use? The Bridge Behavioral Health in Lincoln offers outpatient therapy for those 19 and over. The Bridge is conveniently located in the South Haymarket and near city bus lines. With payment options through insurance and a sliding fee scale, services are available for any adult 19 and over seeking help. Call 402-477-3951 to learn more or schedule your appointment today. The Bridge Behavioral Health is a local substance use treatment facility offering hope and a solid foundation for recovery through substance use treatment and behavioral health interventions.
Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay. Playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza. The big one. All the toppings.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Alexa.
That's a lot of pizza for just one man.
Alexa, just do it. Stop judging me, just do it.
As you wish.
Thanks, Alexa. You're my best friend.
General Fire and Safety has been keeping Lincoln businesses and commercial structures safe for more than 50 years. From a simple fire extinguisher to full fire suppression systems, Lincoln has trusted General Fire and Safety to provide top-of-the-line products, installation, and maintenance. If you're starting a new business in a brand new building, call on General Fire and Safety to help you plan a fire safety system that fits the specific needs of your business, employees, and customers. Call General Fire and Safety today at 402-261-0116.
This is On the Block with Strick and Austin. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for three! And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
Middle school basketball coaching legend and Duke basketball shooting coach in his mind, Austin Orman. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Presented by NIPCO. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin.
Hour 2 of a Thirsty Thursday show. I'm in studio. Strick's getting ready to hit the road. Big weekend for Stricky, going on 35 years old. Hope he has a great birthday celebration. Ellie's on the board with you for another hour. Uncle Kev coming in for Thirsty Thursday here shortly. Fuller glasses for the rest of us today, Strick. Are you going to be raising a glass before you hit the road with us, or are you not partaking until you get boots on the ground to your destination?
I'm going to partake, my friend.
That's what I
going to
thought.
partake.
That's what I was hoping. You nailed the trivia question, Stricky. Let's just cut to the chase. You said 7. The answer is 7. That is both teams' longest win streak in the Nebraska-Creighton rivalry. And, of course, Strick, that number 4 that we said, you were a part of 4 of those 7 wins against the Blue Jays. You were right in the middle of that streak, my friend.
Tell Ellie to give me my theme music.
She didn't have it ready. She was not expecting it.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. I was just trying to do my part.
Do you remember the scores of those games?
I don't, but I know a couple of them. I know a couple of them were okay, anywhere from that 9 to 13 range, and then I think maybe one of them we beat them pretty good. Mm-hmm.
15, 17, 14, and 28.
Oh, yeah. Well, shoot. Okay.
Pretty dang good.
You see what I'm talking about?
You did the thing.
I was not going to go into the summer during those games having to play with those guys and have you. No, we weren't having that. No, I had to come back to Omaha and be able to walk around campus, Creighton campus, and walk with my chin up.
Jeremy and Craig are throwing shade. I said you're going on 35. Jeremy says you mean 45, and Craig says 35 years old, my batootie. That's hating, Stricky. What are they doing?
You don't see no gray in my beard. I'm a young buck. I'm a young fella. Yeah. I'm excited to be 35, man. It's a beautiful thing, man. I'm almost at 40. I'm almost about to cross the threshold. So, yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm closing in.
Respect. Blake was the winner, by the way. He was texter number 4 in with the answer of push.
That a boy, Blake.
Blake must have read the question. He said 7, and then he timed it perfectly with his push. So, Blake, you get double kudos for that. You are the winner. Strick, let's turn our attention to some Nebraska football against Wisconsin. One of the biggest headlines to me is
pause. What is the streak on that for us? It's time, baby.
10 in a row.
Let's go.
10 in a row for the Badgers. 10.
Nebraska, come on, man.
And
at some point, you got to look up and
And I think 12 out of 13.
At some point, you got to look up and say, man, look, today ain't going to be your day. I mean, when is that going to happen? Hopefully Saturday. That's all I can say.
And it's not like Nebraska and Wisconsin, haven't, gone back and forth with the games themselves, right? Nebraska led the game, I think 14-3 a couple years ago, end up losing 15-14. Nebraska led 14-0 last year. Chubba Purdy had that long touchdown run in the game. I think that was on NBC to put Nebraska up, and the Huskers would score again. But then only a field goal in the second half, and Wisconsin wins it in overtime. 35-28, Wisconsin won in Madison just a few years ago. Then there was a 16-point win, a 17-point win, 21. But maybe the most heart-wrenching loss in the series, Strick, was back in 2016. Nebraska's in the top 10. Wisconsin is borderline top 10 at this point. Huskers off to a 7-0 start. They go up to Madison. All the Huskers have to do is get a first down to either run the clock out or kick the potential game-winning field goal. Huskers don't do it. Wisconsin wins that one in overtime. And then Nebraska gets steamrolled by Ohio State. They win a game, then lose their last couple late, including to Iowa in heartbreaking fashion. They lose the bowl game to Tennessee. So, yeah, I think it's been officially 12 out of 13 games in the series since Nebraska joined the Big Ten. Either 12 of 13 or 11 of 12. I can't do my math right now. Either way, only one win for Nebraska. There have been some Wisconsin blowouts, but especially recently, Strick, this Nebraska team has no reason to back down from big bad Wisconsin because it's not big bad Wisconsin right now.
No, they don't. I mean, like I've been saying, if you at this moment with all that's on the line, Austin, everything that there's check boxes that you can make, and we've talked about this before. I said it weeks ago. I said, listen, you're sitting right here. You've got multiple opportunities. Check the box now. Don't put the pressure on yourself. Now the pressure is starting to mount. The conversations are starting. The question marks are really starting to come out. And at some point, you've got to say to yourself, as a school, as a coaching staff, as a university, this stops now. And if you've got to, as I say, pump and prime, that means, you got to like get in there with the old school pump and try to get them ready and get them going. If you got to do that with this team now, then there's more trouble than what we actually can see on the surface.
Which fan base do you think is happier with their coach right now, Nebraska or Wisconsin?
I'm going to say probably I'm going to probably say Nebraska because it's still, both of them are still kind of fresh. I know that there's an expectation here at Nebraska, but there's even more of one up there too because of the success that they've had. And, they don't want to fall into mediocrity. And so I think probably right now it's a little bit more favorable as far as Fickle being the one that the fans are a little bit more questionable of and feeling some kind of way about. I think there's still a little grace period. There's still now when you're making adjustments and shifts the way that they are, it's not a reset, but it's kind of like a recycle maybe, where it's just you kind of think about it a little bit different. Then you're still in this like wait and see moment to see how this plays out, part of it. So it's kind of like a shift in the script while the movie's being filmed. We're going to change the script a little bit, and it just changes the outlook of what it was going to be had the original script been played. So that's how it is. We'll see where it goes, but it's going to be important. You got multiple boxes right in front of you to check, so they got to get to it.
Both teams are 5-5 right now, one win away from bowl eligibility. Obviously, they'll play each other before their biggest rivalry games of the year next week. It'll be Wisconsin, Minnesota, and then Nebraska, Iowa, of course, on Black Friday. But Strick, Luke Fickell, let's not forget, he actually coached Wisconsin in its bowl game in 2022, the Guaranteed Rate Bowl. So he starts his Wisconsin career out with a win. They go 7-5 last year and lose their bowl game. I think it's been really interesting monitoring what's going on in Madison over this last week and even a little bit more, because there have been some comments over not just this week, but previous weeks throughout the beginning of the season as well, where Barry Alvarez, right, there's that connection again, former Nebraska player, a lot of ties back to Nebraska, is now up at Wisconsin, was a coach there, athletic director, all that good stuff. Barry Alvarez has been making comments. When he's asked about what's Wisconsin football's identity, he said, tell me if you know, because I sure don't know. And it's just funny because obviously he's not Tom Osborne, right? Don't get me wrong. But he's essentially Wisconsin's version of Tom Osborne. So for everything that's gone wrong in Nebraska football that we can talk about, how much worse would it be for Matt Rule if Tom Osborne was saying, yeah, I disagree with the way the coach is doing things? That's essentially what's happening at Wisconsin right now.
That's the beautiful thing about who Tom Osborne is, right? I would say that, Coach Osborne maybe has things to say behind the scenes or with friends or how he may feel, but he would not publicly show it. And I think that shows, if you go back to the way Coach Osborne coached, he didn't really ride too many highs. I mean, it was even very rare that you would see him jump for joy and get excited and all of that when they were winning championships and the Gatorade was being poured over his head. He just kind of kept the same manner, very stoic. Just he's a man that not only commands respect, but he is respectful. So it comes from who he is, and you can understand some of the frustrations that they may be having. There may be some disagreements there. We don't know what that relationship is between Fickell and Alvarez. We don't know. It could be some things that they disagree about or with each other, and it may play out in the media. Unfortunately, you hate to see that, but to each his own. Whoever decides that they're going to do it, whatever way they do it, you got to respect it. And I don't have no issue about what he has to say. He's voicing his concern.
Wisconsin seems to be going through its Frank Solich sort of era right now. Maybe it's Bo Pelini era. I don't know which one. Maybe the Bo Pelini era is a little bit better of a comparison, because if you look at what Paul Chryst did in Madison, 10-3, 11-3, 13-1 with an Orange Bowl win, 8-5, 10-4, 4-3 in the COVID year, 9-4 with a bowl win in 2021, and then they got off to only a 2-3 start in 2022. Jim Leonard takes over. They go 4-3 the rest of the year, squeak out bowl eligibility. Luke Fickell comes in and wins the bowl game at the end of that year. But Strick, it feels like the same as Bo Pelini, but also the opposite, right? Paul Chryst was the softer spoken guy, didn't have a whole lot to say, just kind of boring, bland, generic kind of guy, but he really fit Wisconsin. Now we see Luke Fickell come in as an outsider. And not only, Luke Fickell is what he is, right? Coached at Cincinnati, Ohio State guy, lots of Ohio State ties. He was the interim there when Jim Tressel was suspended. Nebraska actually made its school record comeback against Luke Fickell and Ohio State. But it would be one thing if they hired Luke Fickell. A lot of programs across the country wanted him. But the identity piece, I think if you ask a lot of us Wisconsin fans, it went out the door when they hire Phil Longo. I mean, Husker fans brought up their own questions about Dana Holgerson in the air raid. Phil Longo is even more of that. Yeah, sure, he had a couple 1,000-yard rushers in the same year at North Carolina. Wisconsin fans were really quick to write that off. But, Strick, I think when you see you go from Paul Chryst winning 10, 11, 13, 8, 10, 9 games, majority of his time in Madison, and now your high water mark is 6 or 7 last year, 6 the year before that, and now you're lucky to get to 7 this year. I can understand the bone that Wisconsin fans would have to pick with their administration for going away from what made Wisconsin so successful for so many years.
I mean, Nebraska. I mean, this is why you see a lot of the similarities in the numbers that we gave them yesterday here on the block, with how closely related Nebraska and Wisconsin are. To me, Wisconsin was a more pro-style version of what Nebraska was, and their base was very similar to what Nebraska's was, and that's strong interior linemen, strong both on both sides of the ball, both on the defensive and the offensive side of things. Bend but don't break. Probably Nebraska on the defensive side was a little bit more aggressive, but they were linemen and running back for a while, like, you know, Monty Ball, like Dane, again, Gordon. That's who they were. That was their identity. They were the Nebraska version of, you know, maybe a little bit of Big 12, definitely Big 8, and they were the Big 10 version of what Nebraska was, and they've lost their identity as well at this point. So both teams are trying to figure out who they are and who's going to do it better on Saturday is what we're going to see as the outcome.
Afternoon kickoff at Memorial Stadium. We will have pregame coverage at noon for you here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Let's bring up those stats again. I think they're fascinating. Shout out to Michael Severe for posting these here. He says it's amazing how similar Nebraska and Wisconsin are through 10 games. Wisconsin averaging 23.9 points per game, has scored 29 touchdowns this year. Nebraska is averaging 23.2 points per game and has also scored 29 touchdowns. Defensively, Wisconsin allowing essentially 21 points per game on 26 touchdowns. Nebraska is allowing 20 points per game. Hey, guess what? Also 26 touchdowns. Wisconsin's passing offense, 193 yards per game with 10 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. Nebraska, more passing yards per game there at 225, but 11 touchdowns versus 11 interceptions. This is where we get back to identity, Strick. Nebraska, I think the offense has wanted to put its identity in Dylan Raiola. Maybe that's not what the fans, want anymore, right? Coming into the year, there's certainly plenty of hype, plenty of expectation around him. Started off well, has certainly cooled off, but I think the majority of Nebraska fans would tell you they always want their identity to be in the running attack. Wisconsin would say the same, but they also don't have their starting quarterback. Tyler Van Dyke went down with a knee injury. He's been out for the year. And now they're essentially stuck, Strick, with a quarterback that their offensive coordinator really wanted, except that the offensive coordinator isn't there. Braden Locke has thrown an interception in each of his starts so far. Seems like there will be opportunities for Nebraska in a couple ways. Number one, because you have the guy that you presume is your next offensive coordinator in place, you can kind of get a jump start on next season in terms of laying the foundation while still focusing on this season. But also because, plain and simple, Nebraska wants its quarterback. I don't know how badly Wisconsin's head coach even, wanted his starting quarterback. It seems like an offensive coordinator decision.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Would you when you look at the types of quarterbacks that Coach Fickell has had, in his previous tenures, whether it be at Ohio State, would you, as you look at that, Austin, say that it fits the mold?
Wisconsin's quarterback? No,
Yeah.
Does not fit the
It doesn't
Russell
fit the
Wilson
mold, right?
not the Scott Tolzien mold. And Wisconsin had to run with some pretty bad quarterbacks, right? Joel Stavey, Alex Hornibrook come to mind. But all those guys had their moments against Nebraska. And that's why I don't think Husker fans can be dismissive of Braden Locke, because even if it's not a perfect fit, Strick, we've seen worse Wisconsin quarterbacks have better games.
That is absolutely true. And this is what this is where I go back to. You're going to see both of these teams who are soul searching. They're looking at trying to figure out who they are, what they are, how they want to finish things off and complete things. And I would say with them sharing the same type, record, none of them want to be in that situation with the kind of pressure that would mount on them. It's who really wants it more. That's really what it's going to come down to for this whole game from the start to the finish. Who really wants it more? And we'll see. You'll know. It'll be pretty evident as to who wants it more, because there'll be different times throughout this game, whether it be a 3rd and 7 or a crucial one, ending of the half. Who's going to be more effective and efficient in running their stuff, not getting penalties. When you have a situation where you're driving and you're moving the ball, you don't have a false start penalty at the 45 that puts you out of field goal range, and it also puts you out of being able to be a real threat in a scoring drive. You're going to look at these different types of situations and assess who's really tuned in, focused, and locked in on the ultimate goal, and that's checking that box of going to a bowl.
Both teams sit at 5-5 right now, but Strick, I love what you're saying too, because if it comes down to a game of want to, we really have to try to determine who has the edge, right? And who's going to, play harder and have more on the line. Because both teams are just one win away from bowl eligibility. The case for Wisconsin is we dominate this series. We've only lost once since Nebraska's joined the Big Ten. We know this Nebraska program is just going to trip over itself. Turf Monster is going to get it, both physically and metaphorically. So we're good, right? We just have to play solid football. We don't have to be world beaters. It probably won't take, the same level of upper end execution as it did against Oregon, but we're still going to try to put our best foot forward and just let Nebraska lose the game. But on the flip side, if you're Nebraska, you have that streak as motivation. So many streaks that this team has said it wants to end, just like basketball, right? The losing streak to Michigan State, the losing streak to Purdue come to mind. You can hang those up in the locker room saying, we're not doing this again. We can't afford to lose another game here. You can say it's senior day. It's a big group of guys, their last game at home. Strick, both teams have a lot on the line, but Nebraska needs to find a way to make sure it puts even more on the line and comes out with that same fire, like we mentioned earlier in the week, that it did against Colorado. There's no reason for the stadium, but especially for that locker room, to not feel the same way in week 13 of the season as it did back in week 2.
Well, that's that. In essence, we're saying the same thing about pumping and priming. Mm-hmm. If you're a senior and you've been there and you've been looking at this now for the last 2 years, and you decided to come back because of something that you saw, you got off to the start that you witnessed, and then now you find yourself right here again, sitting on the verge of a bowl game. And if you're a senior and you came back and you can't get those guys to fall in line and to get on board and to get on the train with you, then like I said, then you've got more problems. You've got more problems than you can actually see on the outside. There's something else going on, because this should not be the case at all, especially even more so at home.
That part. There's no way either coach has, quote unquote, lost the locker room through 2 years. But man, Strick, I almost wonder if how the energy of this game plays out is a reflection on how well each head coach's message is taking root in both the leaders, but also the followers on their respective teams,
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Who's gonna, me and Jay were talking about it yesterday, actually. Jay Foreman and I. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I can identify somebody that, and I grabbed Jay by his chest and I said, Jay, somebody that you just need to grab by their chest, look them in the face and say, man, what are you doing? Come on, and just really be able to get them going. It can't be fake. It can't be phony. Bump fake hype. Let's go hype with action, right? Mm-hmm. Hype with performance. Hype to get you just to stay focused and to stay in the zone. tight on what you need to do and do it at your best, beating who's across from you, wherever it be on the defensive side or the offensive side, winning your battles and winning them more than the other guy. Simple as that.
Simple as that, indeed. You guys have some thoughts on it on our Starter Heyman Jewelers text line. We got some more numbers. What's the trajectory for Nebraska under Matt Rule, according to some advanced statistics? We'll get to your thoughts. We'll get to something from Brandon Vogel of the Counter Read, and plenty more when we get back to On the Block.
Download our app by searching for 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day wherever you are. More of On the Block next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are you or someone you love struggling with substance use? The Bridge Behavioral Health in Lincoln offers outpatient therapy for those 19 and over. The Bridge is conveniently located in the South Haymarket and near city bus lines. With payment options through insurance and a sliding fee scale, services are available for any adult 19 and over seeking help. Call 402-477-3951 to learn more or schedule your appointment today. The Bridge Behavioral Health is a local substance use treatment facility offering hope and a solid foundation for recovery through substance use treatment and behavioral health interventions.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Tanner's Bar and Grill is the best place in Lincoln for a casual get-together, best place to watch a game, and the best for pre- and post-game. Catch college and NFL football as well as the volleyball action this season at Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill. What's better than wings, cold beer, and a Husker win? Enjoy great food and drink specials every day and tons of TVs to catch all the action. Tanner's Bar and Grill, 30th and Yankee Hill.
Rain, snow, or shine, John Henry's is here to keep your home's plumbing systems working properly no matter what kind of weather Nebraska throws at us. From unclogging toilets and drains to installing new water heaters and water treatment systems, John Henry's is your plumbing expert in the Lincoln and Omaha communities. Visit us at calljh.com or call John Henry's.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air,
and Electrical.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
At Anderson Ford, we offer a 5-day return or exchange policy, so you can make sure the vehicle you choose is the best vehicle for you. No pressure. Right now, lease a 2024 Ford F-150 for $395 per month. Experience better at Anderson Ford. Stock number 1003769, $395 per month, lease for 36 months with approved credit, 7,500 miles per year, $5,250 to assigning, no security deposit required. Tax, title, and license fees extra. Residency restrictions apply. Program subject to change. Must take new retail delivery from Anderson Auto Group by 11/30/24. See delivery details.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL Weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
The Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see lots of sunshine with a light breeze. An afternoon high around 44. Tonight, clear skies and calm winds, below around 27. And tomorrow, we'll see increasing clouds throughout the day with light winds and a high around 50. Meteorologist Kyle Becker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
General Fire and Safety has been keeping Lincoln businesses and commercial structures safe for more than 50 years. From a simple fire extinguisher to full fire suppression systems, Lincoln has trusted General Fire and Safety to provide top-of-the-line products, installation, and maintenance. If you're starting a new business in a brand new building, call on General Fire and Safety to help you plan a fire safety system that fits the specific needs of your business, employees, and customers. Call General Fire and Safety today at 402-261-0116.
Attention students and anyone else looking for a great deal. Sun Valley Lanes and Games has the ultimate weeknight special. For just $15.95, enjoy unlimited bowling, lucky putt mini golf, and laser tag. Flash your college ID at check-in to receive $2 off your admission. It's the perfect way to unwind Sunday through Thursday nights. Check out sunvalleylanes.com for hours and availability. Sun Valley Lanes and Games, located at 321 Victory Lane.
Lincoln's best place to meet, eat, and compete. Sun Valley.
The Rabbit Hole Bakery, located at 8th and Q in the Haymarket, is the ideal place for fresh breakfast items or desserts made daily. Cream puffs, cinnamon rolls, carrot cake, sweet potato pecan cookies, brownies, blondies. Do I need to keep going? What about bread pudding with homemade bourbon caramel sauce? Stop by the Rabbit Hole Bakery at 8th and Q in the Haymarket today to satisfy your cravings. And if you're looking for larger group orders, they do that too. Order ahead on their website at therabbitholebakery.com today.
This is James Harrell with NP Dodge Real Estate. When I became a licensed realtor, I wanted a brokerage that would help me grow in my new career. I found that in Lincoln First Realty. When Lincoln First was acquired by NP Dodge, the training and support I received only got better. I love knowing I have the power of the NP Dodge brand behind me. I would recommend NP Dodge to new agents looking to jumpstart their real estate career and to current agents who want to take their business to the next level.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeyman electricians from $32.50 to $42.50 per hour with paid benefits. And if you're looking for a new career, they're hiring apprentices at $19.50 per hour with paid benefits. Call the office at 402-423-4497 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old-fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with Taco Night on Mondays or Whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is On the Block, brought to you by the great people at Nebco. Appreciate them for everything they do for us. Nebco and Constructors is hiring for all positions with immediate job openings for mechanics, laborers, bridge builders, operators, and drivers. You can join the crew today and be a part of Nebraska's oldest paving company that dates back to 1908. Laborers' wages start at $23 and up based on your experience. You can visit nebcoinc.com or constructorslincoln.com to learn more. Again, they are in a special need of mechanics. So if you're a mechanic looking for a fresh start, something new, check out Constructors and Nebco. Stricky, let's just jump straight into the text line here. We'll start with Mean Joe Green. He answered the question, who should be happier with their coach right now, Nebraska or Wisconsin? He says Nebraska fans have to be more happy with Matt Rule. He's shown that he will make changes as needed to his staff and his players. Wisconsin has made little to no adjustment, and they were a pretty good team when the new coach took over. To me, it's that second part that stands out because Luke Fickell did make the move a lot of Wisconsin fans were wanting and getting rid of his offensive coordinator, just like what Matt Rule did with Marcus Satterfield, who is, of course, still on staff coaching tight ends, unlike Phil Longo, who's just gone from Wisconsin. But Wisconsin, even if it wasn't in the glory days, they're still a bowl-eligible program, not that far removed from winning double-digit games, whereas Matt Rule took over a program that went essentially a coach and a half without even qualifying for a bowl game. So no matter what you think about, how Nebraska is doing now, it's hard to argue that Matt Rule has made the program worse than the last couple guys, unlike what the results have been for Luke Fickell so far.
Well, that's what I meant. That's why I think that they're a little bit more disappointed up in Wisconsin. I also think that Rule has prepared the fan base by tamping down any over expectations. The conversations that he had with the, before his hiring, and the reason for the tenure of his hiring. You probably wouldn't give someone that long of a tenure if they hadn't given you a vision of their growth being a build and what it was going to take. And with like I said, before the year, I talked about two trajectories of programs, and I think we were in Colorado, or just before that week in Colorado before we went, where we talked about two different types of programs, with Colorado being more like a fighter jet, who they were building it from a standpoint of we want to go to the top quickly. Whereas you saw Nebraska's plan to start with a foundation, bring in some younger players, really build that base. Wasn't able to retain a whole bunch of them, didn't really have the quarterback that they wanted, was doing a lot of stop-gapping at the time, found the quarterback that they had, and then added at the skill positions. And you saw what you thought it was going to look like, and then all of a sudden it's kind of leveled out. We just haven't seen what we had hoped to see as far as moving another couple of steps up. I thought another couple of steps up would look like 7-5, 8-5, but I think they had the team for that, just couldn't get the job done, wasn't able to complete the task. They still can get to 7-5, but when I look at this team, Austin, I just don't know, man. I there's something I don't see. And then watching that game, when you're having things bounce away against you, you've got to go and make your own. You got to make your own. What's the word I'm looking? Yeah. You know, at some point you got to go get it on your own. And you know, you saw some of that from Sierra Wright, but then on the other hand, we gave it away. And I think Jim Philippi said it on the YouTube stream where he had spoke about the importance of the turnover game and making sure that margin. Now, Nebraska has done better at that margin. I still think they've got work to go. They did better in making sure that penalties weren't something. Yeah, you had penalties, but it wasn't something that literally stopped drives as it had done weeks before in previous games. So hopefully you'll see a better increase in those areas. Hopefully you'll see Dylan Raiola not being as hesitant and overthinking. I think that's what he's doing right now. It's no different than us in basketball where we're shooting the ball and the ball is going in and it's rimming out and it's going in, and then it just takes a bad bounce, and instead of going front rim backboard in, it front rim backboard slide off, and you're just like, golly, you know, at some point, when am I going to get a break? You got to go make your own breaks, whether that's getting to the free throw line or whether that's – and Nebraska's in that position now. Whoever that is, whatever position you're in, go make a play. Go and make the play when the play's in front of you. Not trying to do some Superman type of play, but make the plays when it's called for you to make the plays. If it's called for you to set the edge, set the edge. If it's called to you to have lane disciplines, do that. And while there, make the play. And that's what you really just hope to see.
One example of that, of just go make a play, a guy that Nebraska thought it could really count on was Tommy Hill. It was announced today by Matt Rule in his press conference, Strick, that Tommy Hill's done for the year. He's not going to play in these last two games for Nebraska, neither against Wisconsin or against Iowa. And I think it's
injury,
right? Still struggling with that.
I told you
injury.
I told you that thing is not a joke, bro. It's not a joke. And I know, like I said, technology is better, but it's not a joke, Austin. That, you know, I could understand because it's going to take time. It takes time for that thing to heal.
It really does. And Matt Rule even said, you know, he's a speed guy. When you're a speed player and that leaves you, it's going to be tough for you to compete. And Strick, this is again where, yes, Nebraska moves on from Marcus Satterfield. Is it the right move? Is it the wrong move? Is it enough at the right time? Is it too little, too late? We'll see. But the way that Matt Rule talked about Tommy Hill, I'm trying to find the exact quote because I think it was pretty telling. Let's see if I can find it here. Obviously, you know, Rule says, I feel for him, came into the year with high expectations, had the foot injury, and it's just never quite been the same. Here's the quote. So Rule says Tommy Hill's been dealing with a lot. Here's the money quote, though. I can't put him out there anymore. He cares about his teammates and wants to be out there, but he's only hurting himself and giving up touchdowns. It's unfortunate for him, but he has better days ahead. He cares about his teammates and wants to be out there, but he's only hurting himself is usually where Matt Rule would stop. But then he goes on to say, and giving up touchdowns. This is more of that same players got to go make plays language that we've heard from Matt Rule over these last couple weeks that we didn't hear nearly as often in the first year and a half, it sounded slightly frustrated with Matt Rule. I don't know if it was frustrated with the player, frustrated for the player, or frustrated that it took so long to get to this decision, because Tommy Hill didn't help Nebraska against USC. And obviously it's not all on him, but it's these decisions that are big decisions, right? Benching Tommy Hill for the last 2 games, whether it's with an injury or just using the injury, that's a big decision. Tommy Hill was one of the best players on the team coming into the year, hasn't played like it, most likely due to the injury. So you respect the young man for trying to gut it out, but you almost wish that if it was going to look like this, Nebraska would have made the tough call a couple weeks before, rolled it out with someone that was healthy and seen what had happened.
Well, yeah. That's why I think when we knew coming in that depth was going to be something that we hope to see, especially in that secondary. When you have a 3-3, when you have a 3-3-5, that's going to require you to have a lot of different, guys that can play a certain way, especially on the perimeter as a secondary player. Here's why I say that. They switched over when Coach White came in to the 3-3-5. You had recruited previously to more of a traditional style, usually a 3, it was a 5-3. No, 5-2,
4-3, 5-2.
4-3. It was a 4-3. Yeah, it was actually a 4-3. You were not a 4-3. I think it was
the 3-4.
It was a 3-4. Yeah. They were more 3-4. That's exactly right. And that's more linebacker dominant guys who can run from that linebacker position, some who've got abilities to rush passer. And you pretty much have a traditional, 2 corners, 2 safeties type of deal. Maybe one of your safeties is a little bit unique and so forth and so on. But if you didn't have that kind of depth, that switch to that 3-5, you got to recruit to that. And I just didn't know if they had that kind of depth with the need of 5 guys to play that way, because a lot of those safeties that they have were big and strong and downhill and run stop type safeties, not necessarily running, not necessarily cover guys, but guys who can definitely play zone and do that. But they weren't cover guys. You got to have cover guys with a 3-3-5. So and then guys didn't step up, or guys that you thought were going to be in that secondary didn't really pan out, which leaves you that if you get injured, just throw stuff out of whack. And it's unfortunate that they found themselves in that situation. That's where they are. They're kind of just like piecemealing right now. And you remember when I don't know if you remember this, Austin, you used to ride your bike and your bike it would get a flat tire, and you would have to go and buy the stuff to seal up to patch it. That's what Nebraska's doing right now. They're patching up the bike tire.
And that's unfortunate, because this is still a veteran and experienced group. We said coming into the year, it's a lot of guys that have played plenty of football for Nebraska, but the depth in the next wave was the question, right? With Gifford at Rover, to start the year, remember, it was Singleton and Hartzog at safety, but they just made the switch with Marquise Buford back to safety and Hartzog to corner, where he played most of the first couple of years at Nebraska, and then Tommy Hill on the outside. You would think you wouldn't have to be, piecemealing a secondary together with these guys that have played this much college football. Deshaun Singleton's been fine. He's been solid enough, but Buford, the experiment with him at corner, up and down, which is the nature of the position, but he didn't lock it down. Same with Hartzog, who just, by virtue of his size, is going to have some good moments, but has also had some miscommunications and been thrown over by some offensive coordinators. And then Tommy Hill and Jeremiah Charles behind him. Old Dad 34 brings Charles up. He says, I think they rushed Tommy Hill back because Jeremiah Charles was getting beat all over the field. And okay, Jeremiah Charles is a young guy. He just made the switch from wide receiver to defensive back, still learning the position, let alone the finer points of the position. But you thought the addition of John Butler in the offseason was a good one. It doesn't seem like that's necessarily borne all the fruit Nebraska's wanted it to, in a short notice hire and everything like that. So now that John Butler's there, Strick, Nebraska has to have a plan, and maybe they need to recruit guys that are, more traditional corners and more traditional safeties instead of these guys they're going to ping pong back and forth between the two positions for growth next year.
Gotcha.
You with it?
Gotcha. You said, yeah, man. Recruit. You got to get those type of guys in. I mean, that's one thing I could say about Coach Osborne. Coach Osborne knew an area where they were deficient, and that was definitely at the cornerback position, not necessarily safety. Had some great ones in Veland and Mentor and Toby Wright and a lot of those guys. In the set, Baron Miles, Mike Booker, had a great run. They went and got him. Went down to Georgia, went down to Florida, went down to Texas, went down, definitely a good portion. Arizona, they went and got guys that can run, and that's what they do, And again, we're living in an NIL age. I know you don't like to have to pay guys, especially like that in the secondary, but you might have to go and make it rain on a couple of guys and get them in there.
Is that a pause?
No, that ain't a pause. That's you might have to.
That's a play. Come on, get a move on.
You might have to James Harden it. You might have to James Harden it, man.
Sweet Lou Williams it.
Something.
That's Strick. I'm Austin. We're here during On the Block. One more segment to go on the show. Stick around. We'll wrap it up next.
Follow Austin, Strick, and On the Block on Twitter at Austin Orman, eStrick20, and On the Block 93.7. More of On the Block coming up.
When he stops the game-winning goal with his nose. When your hand accidentally becomes the pot holder. When her bike takes her off-road and onto the sidewalk. That's where we come in. Walk into CHI Health Clinic Priority Care 7 days a week for urgent and minor care at primary care rates. Getting you back to better health is our priority. Find your location at chihealth.com/priority care.
Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket as soon as the clock hits 0 for the Jay Foreman postgame show. Listen to expert analysis from the Husker Hall of Famer, an 8-year NFL veteran, for 90 minutes after the game. The Jay Foreman postgame show, sponsored by Anderson Ford, Tanner's Bar and Grill, Tavern 180, Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Vinnie Kreekak of State Farm Insurance, and Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Discover the difference that expertise and experience can make in your real estate journey with Next Ag Appraisal and Realty. Whether you need an appraisal, sales, or farm management, Next Ag comes up with a solution with your legacy and goals in mind. Next Ag isn't just their name, it's your future. So why wait? Visit their website today at www.nextagrealestate.com or give them a call at 402-380-0432 and turn your dreams into reality. Your land, your legacy, their solution. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Are you or someone you love struggling with substance use? The Bridge Behavioral Health in Lincoln offers outpatient therapy for those 19 and over. The Bridge is conveniently located in the South Haymarket and near city bus lines. With payment options through insurance and a sliding fee scale, services are available for any adult 19 and over seeking help. Call 402-477-3951 to learn more or schedule your appointment today. The Bridge Behavioral Health is a local substance use treatment facility offering hope and a solid foundation for recovery through substance use treatment and behavioral health interventions. Automotive Solutions is Lincoln's one-stop shop for all your vehicle needs, from vinyl wraps to engine repair and maintenance. Automotive Solution offers fleet services as well as printing and graphic design for vinyl applications, plus installation of vinyl for boats, trucks, cars, and anything else you want wrapped. Perfection is their standard, and they never settle for less. Call today at 531-249-5600 or go to automotivesolutionslincoln.com to learn more. That's Automotive Solutions, 2040 Southwest 5th Street in Lincoln.
At Koppel Chevrolet GMC, we are thankful for so many things this year, starting with our great employees, a generous community, our military personnel, and most importantly, our loyal customer base that continues to drive that money-saving mile of Louisville. Hi, this is Sean Callahan, and on behalf of everybody at Koppel, we want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving and safe travels to wherever they may take you. Happy holidays from Koppel Chevrolet GMC.
College football in Lincoln, America. The time has come. Start your game day off right with the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show. Join the ticket crew as they bring you all the coverage you need to get you ready for the action. It's the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show. Brought to you by General Fire and Safety, Raisin Canes, Perch Merch, Sunbelt Rentals, Mullen Motors, Select Plumbing, and the Kindler Hotel. On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in, temperature-controlled, high-end wine bar. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting book. There's only one place to go for all your needs for wine, beer, spirits, and cigars. Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
Are you a veteran looking for a new companion animal, a dog, a cat, or maybe something else? The Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs Vets Get Pets program can cover up to $350 of your pet adoption fees. Visit veterans.nebraska.gov/vetsgetpets to learn more about program requirements and how to apply. Want to help support the program? Get your Vets Get Pets specialty license plates from the Nebraska DMV. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Well, let's wrap up with some more of your thoughts on our Sartor Heyman Jewelers text line. Eric says, Strick's almost a permanent pause. Stricky, Eric is just coming at you, right? You have your pause moments, but you keep it clean. You keep it between the lines more often than not.
Austin, exactly. I'm just a regular old simple guy. There's not much to it. I'm not going to throw anything or anyone out in the street. I'm a loving, I'm a caring guy. My pause moments are mostly just to share a thought with you that I have, and so that's when I use them. My mind is very authentic and genuine. I love people. So Eric, leave me alone.
Yeah, he just said pause again. No, Eric, if you keep pressing pause, you'll be the boy who cried pause. Give Stricky some credit, dang it.
I haven't said anything bad today.
The closest was what you said at the end of last segment, but we'll let it slide because you have been good. Mississippi Mud Dog on the text line says he called his shot. Credit to him for that, and he does come back with receipts. This is back in mid-August, so just a few months ago. He says, did you guys forget about Quinn Clark when you were naming off legacy guys? I think he's an under-the-radar kid. He's a stud. Wide receiver room seems packed right now, but it might not be at some point this year. He's going to make noise. Legacy kid has worked his way up from scout team. He was brought up by name by Matt Rule today, and that's led a lot of people to believe that Quinn Clark could be who Dana Holgerson was referring to in the skill position group of young guys. He said that one stood out to him that he might use. Strick, that'd be an awesome story, right? A guy that's paid his dues on scout team. He's still a freshman. 2 games left. Why not throw a young guy in the mix and see what you've got in 2 of the biggest games of not just the year, but really the Matt Rule tenure right now?
Yeah, and my question then is, right now there's some rumor mill going out that it's very possible that Malachi Coleman may
let's not
stay, but we don't know for sure what that's going to look like. But those young guys, I think Jalen Lloyd made a good little impact in the last game. Find ways to get these young men the ball. If Jamal Banks and those guys aren't gonna, step forward at this point in time, I know you like the size and I know you like the veteran leadership, but at this point, we need production. Who's gonna step out there and step up and make it happen? Like I remember this for myself personally, right? I came off of a season off of injury. I think I had a high ankle sprain that bothered me pretty much throughout the season. Towards the tail end of the season, I didn't play very well. I go into that next season. Don Nelson brings me into his office, and he says, Strick, and this is going to speak to what I'm not just using the story. I'm actually using it to speak to what we're talking about with these young guys. He says to me, hey, look, you're probably going to be the 12th person on the team this year. So I just wanted to let you know so that way you're aware of it. Oh, okay. And there's two ways you can take that information. One, you can cow into the corner and just act like, woe is me. Oh, I'm so sad about it. Or you can do like the young man's been doing on the scout team, getting better, figuring out what he needs to do. And me, I just stayed ready. I heard what you said. And we go into the exhibition season. Guys get injured. So that guess who's got to play?
Stricky.
I get in the game and everything changed. And I started that season. So you go from being the 12th person to now you're starting, in the season. And that's what can happen with these guys. If they stayed ready, they stayed focused. They didn't care about what all the outside noise was. And if they get their time, go out there and perform. Because if you perform, I think that's what everybody wants. I think that's what Holgerson wants. I know that's what Rule wants because we've heard it. But go out there and be ready to perform. Do the best that you can and take care of business, and you'll be fine.
Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. You're listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
When it comes to those older guys, specifically Banks and Nair, like you said, Strick, I'd be curious to see how they got graded, pre-Holgerson and now post-Holgerson. Matt Rule said that, yep, their coaches have been telling them the same things that he's heard from Dana Holgerson, but maybe it just wasn't sinking in. Maybe it took a new voice, a new perspective, and maybe even some new fire from Dana Holgerson to light a fire under these guys. And if that's the case, hey, credit Dana Holgerson for finding a way to get the best out of these guys. But also, it's either an indictment on the current coaching staff that they weren't able to press the right buttons, or on the players for making it situational, right? If these, and I say all of them, and I say it's been an effort thing, but only the players know that. If they haven't been giving their full effort, if it took a coaching change and a new voice to get them to tap into a part of their energy, their passion for the game of football, whatever it is, to make them play better now, at least you found it. But if you had found that to start the year, you probably wouldn't be here with 2 games to go searching for bowl eligibility. It's that sense of urgency, that sense of fire that Nebraska's needed all year that, like we said, at least on a team-wide level, hasn't always been obvious like it was against Colorado.
So that's the thing. When you have 2 different types of situations, right? I'm going to use this as another reference just because I'm close to it and I know the family, but it's similar to what happened with the young fella up at Colorado, the cornerback from Florida.
Oh, yeah.
Oh gosh, my mind's drawing.
Cormani McLean.
Cormani McLean, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is what you deal with in these times. You're dealing with NIL, and you're dealing with all these stars. Not that you're a star, but these stars that they throw on players. And a lot of it depends on who's coaching them. So, for example, it's hard. It's when the defensive line of Colorado was being decimated, they bring in a guy by the name of Warren Sapp.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot it's a lot harder, even when you're dealing with NIL. So you're dealing with NIL and you're dealing with coaches. Those are the two, who the coach is. So you've got that and stars. When you've got that, you have to have a balance within one of those areas, meaning you have to be able to have a check and balance on the fact that, yes, you're a star, which usually means other players. So you have to have other players that are, if not better, work harder, and can also produce. That's how you have a check on the star balance, right? So guys that are before you, yeah, they were that too, or so forth and so on. Yeah, they were that too. So you're gonna have to outplay him, my boy. Your star don't mean nothing here. He was 5 and you was 4. Okay, all right. You have to have that balance. 2, coach, meaning everything Warren Sapp talks about, there's nothing none of them can question. Bro, I'm a Hall of Famer. So what you gonna tell me that I'm not telling you that can make you better, right? So you have to be able to challenge that. And then the last part is the NIL. Some of those young men are making more money than some of the coaches. So in their mind's eye, they're saying, "What you gonna tell me? What you gonna tell me? You know what I mean? I'm getting paid, shoot, bruh." You know, and it's sad.
Right.
And in some ways, you have that dynamic in the NBA, but this is where you need to insert some or have the backing of up top, right? So the relationship you're able to build, that's important. That's why with Cormani McClain, they like, yo, Dion. You know, he's gonna have an eye on those cornerbacks and see who's working, who's doing what. And if you ain't about it, you got to go. So with this team, where's been the struggles and where's been some of the half-hearted efforts has been in the wide receiver room.
With a young coach, you know, and 2 guys that you went out and got you from the transfer portal. That, again, I don't want to disparage anyone in their work ethic or their effort. Right? I'm not there at practice, but this is why I think it's important for, you know, a new voice like Dana Holgorsen to come in and challenge these guys and ask them, have you been giving everything? Because if this entire Nebraska team has been giving 100%, 105, 110%, whatever it is you want to say, and they're still 5-5, then we need to know that maybe this team just plain and simple needs more talent. But I think our eyes would tell us and opinions would tell us that, hey, this team is probably more talented than a 5-5 record, which then leads to the questions of, okay, why isn't it better? Which gets us in the same vicious cycle we have. And to me, Strick, it comes down to discipline, right? Like you said, what is the coach that's being paid less than his players going to tell them? It shouldn't matter. One's the player, one's the coach. No matter how much you're making, how little the other guy is making, it shouldn't matter because of what the position is. If you're the coach, you coach. If you're the player, you listen. You have a conversation. You have some dialogue. You go back and forth. But both groups have to do their job. If it took a coach that, you know, has been in the game longer than a different coach to get your attention, on the one hand, it makes sense. But on the other hand, for those 2 receivers, just for an example, if those guys could honestly tell you that they weren't doing everything in their power, that, yeah, they had a wake-up call with Dana Holgorsen, okay, thanks for being honest, but you were brought in to bring discipline. You were brought in because we shouldn't have to had these conversations or this change to bring out the best of you. It's discipline.
You should be not only having the discipline because you're an elder statesman within that group, you should also be the one leading the charge. You should be setting the tone, and you should be making sure that any and everybody below you, when they see it on film, in practice, that they understand and know there's a reason why you're there, and it's going to be able to paint a picture or give an example or a sample as to what you should look like when you get here and you're also performing on the field.
Absolutely. Well, Strick, I hate to kick you out, but Uncle Kev's here, so I hope you understand.
All good.
Safe travels, partner. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Sound like a deal?
No doubt about it. Love y'all. Blockhead, see y'all soon, man. Y'all be well.
That's Strick. I'm Austin. Thanks for tuning in. Ellie's been on the board. Don't go anywhere. We got old school DP and J. Led off by Kevin Meyer of Meyer's Pork and Bottle for Thirsty Thursday. Thanks, Nebco, Starter Heyman Jewelers, Aloe Fiber, John Walker of the Omaha World Herald. Plenty of people to thank, including you. Stick with us.
Over 75% of the patients that come to Limitless Male have been told over and over again by their primary care providers that their testosterone level is fine. Guess what? If you have all the symptoms of low testosterone, you're not fine. Come get a second opinion at Limitless Male. We have helped tens of thousands of